Check 1, 2. Shout out to the underrated. Coming in first, Jay Shine. What up, dude? Coming in second. But thank y'all for tuning in and being first, man. Been waiting to hook up with Brother X for a minute now. It's always funny to interview an interviewer, man. Seem different. Almost seem like we ain't supposed to interview each other. I'm good, Jay Shine. I'm glad to have met all of y'all, man. I'm glad to make y'all's acquaintance. Some great brothers out here, man. From different walks of life. It's a beautiful thing. Check 1. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming in clear? Am I low? Am I high? Is the music fine? Should it be louder? Come on in, family. Hit the like button on your way in. That like button. What's going on out here? YouTube tonight. Let me see what's going on. Oh yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Got Paris Milan coming in almost first. We got Fly Nubian Queen, Sister Vicky, almost 1,000 watching. O'Shea, 300, almost 350 watching. Paris Milan with 800 watching right now. Kendra D, almost 100 watching. Reg the Bad Guy, 20-something watching. And we got, who else we got live? Who am I competing with out here? Greetings, so. Y'all come on in. 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 Come on in.
Come on in. Mic check.
Greetings, Earthlings. Check 1, 2. Hope I'm coming in clear from me to you. It's an interview.
It's an interview with brother X. Just as I would interview anyone else. But we're gonna be chopping it up. You know, we got to dive it up on the latest topics. Whole bunch of stuff got to come up because brother talks with so many other people with so many different ideologies. So it's two interviewers chopping it up tonight. So you know I got to deal with the manosphere, man. I done heard how X talks. And I'm sure he has a lot to share from his point of view. Let me double check my email, make sure the brother got the link like he should have. Let's see here. Did I send him the Hangouts link? Oh yeah, I did. Jay Shine, what you want us to talk it, chop it up about? Me and X, we can take it all on. Little Rock, what up? Yeah. Jay Shine, have you started your channel yet? You started putting any material on there? I think that's something you said you might start doing. Calling for brother X. Competing heavy tonight with some other YouTube channels right now. I see. But as GabTalk grows, we'll get better and better. Just a few announcements while we wait. I got this Friday coming up this Friday, which is the 8th, March 8th. I got ARC brother Alan Roger Curry, whom I'm sure Manosphere Talk will be in order again, and I'm gonna stay on this Manosphere Talk. Saturday, got the Grinch. You know what I'm saying? So y'all make sure y'all join me Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gonna chop it up with the Grinch. See if we can peel the brother's mask back, man. See what's going on. I'm sure a lot of sisters are gonna want to hear that interview. He been around YouTube terrorizing them and assaulting brothers. Or should I say assaulting simps. So we've confirmed that. I'm waiting also on Kevin Samuels to confirm for Saturday. Kevin Samuels is quite the busy person. We've been missing each other back and forth, but we have electronically shook hands that we will catch a date. Yes, peace. Brother X, I have sent you the link to your email address. I've sent it. There he is. the guest of honor. So yeah, those are three things we got that I'm looking forward to. Potentially another conversation with Brother Angry Man. Indeed. All right. So our guest of honor has just entered the building. We got 8 looking in competition with some heavy hitters tonight for sure. Okay, looks like O'Shea's broadcast just stepped off. We got Kendra D still pulling in over 90 people watching her right now. Where's the bad guy? Got almost 20. And I don't think me and Paris Milan share same audience. Fly Nubian Queen, we shouldn't share too much of the same audience. But she's pulling, Vicky Dillard is pulling in over 1,000 right now. But we won't wait too much longer. Loadcast, what's good? Thank you. I don't know how many of y'all know, man, but without Loadcast, I might not be here. I may have given up had not seen him building his channel along at the same time and not giving a damn what nobody thinks. It inspired me, man. I'm almost a little intimidated here. Interviewing another master, well, not another master, but a master interviewer who has been on here. I'm not sure how long, but we'll find out in a second. But he got the voice, you know what I'm saying? So I've been playing music for a while. I've been waiting on some guests to come in. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn my music down and we're going to get started. So with that said, Brother X, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Peace, man. I'm sorry I'm late, man. I was at the shop, man, and lost track of time and all that kind of shit. So I had to hurry up and get my ass here, man.
It's all right, bro. That's all right, bro. Damn, bro. I feel like the amateur tonight, man.
It's all good, man. You're good at this, man. You're good at this shit,
man. It's all right. Damn, bruh. So it's been a long time coming. I know we've been talking about doing something for a minute, and finally we're here. And it's always like when I interview O'Shea, it was funny. Whenever I interview somebody that interviews, there's always a little different dynamic here set up. But I think I'm gonna just carry it the same way that I carry it with all the others, and get into your head and figure out when you got started and all that kind of stuff, man. So let's just start. You sound like a straight New Yorker to me, man.
Yeah, I'm from New York originally.
Oh, okay. You no longer in New York?
Nah, I've been down here in North Click, man, since 2014. So I'm in North Carolina, man. I've been down here for 5 years now.
Oh, okay. Damn, a lot of people, I notice a lot of people going to North Carolina now, man, from northern states. Is it the cost of living kind of shit, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot cheaper. We were able to come down here because, an opportunity opened up. So we decided to come on down. Got down here. I mean, I wasn't down here 2 months before I started my business.
Mhm.
The way I operate my business down here, I probably couldn't do it in New York. I probably could but the cost of it would be almost 30 to 40% higher. You know, when you talk about the tax ratio and all that kind of stuff and the hoops they
Mhm.
make you jump through in New York, it's totally different down here. The tax base is different. You know, property taxes are different. Your overhead, you know, maintaining your EIN, all that stuff is different down here. So, I mean, it's a lot easier. I could have started a business in New York, but I mean, it wouldn't have been as cost effective as it is down here.
Right. So it's when you say it's different, you mean different better.
Yeah, different, better. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. Yeah. So let's go on and take us back to a little bit to the beginning. I know there was a brother X. First of all, let's go with the brother. Is it brother Xavier?
Everybody just called me. Everybody just called me X. I mean, my name is Xavier, but you know, everybody just called me X. A
Oh,
lot of
okay.
people
So
call, a lot of people call me Prophet, but I mean, that's not my name. I mean, the Prophet of Thought series is the name of the platform. You know, that's not my
absolutely,
name. So,
absolutely. But Xavier is your real name.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah, no, that's cool. I didn't know whether that was a part of the character that
nah,
you know how we create our characters on YouTube. So that's
yeah,
actually your real name, which I like that because I'm an X-Men fan. You know,
yeah. You know,
yeah,
it has its advantages.
yeah, yeah, and then your personality behind the microphone just seems like a Professor X, man. It really does. In that you know you sound like a boss man back there, man. When you're interviewing, you're very in control of things. Um, so in New York, let's go back. So are you Gen X?
Yeah, I mean, you and I are the same age, brother Gab.
Oh, okay.
I just turned 50 in December, you know.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. Yeah, we damn sure are 3 months apart, man. Um, so you came up in New York originally, and would that be Brooklyn or where'd you come up?
well, I was raised on Long Island. I lived on Long Island up until I was about 17. After I graduated high school, I went off and I stayed. I lived in Wellsville, New York, because that's where I went to college, to a technical college. Um, came back, came back to Long Island for a little while. Met my ex. We spent most of our time in New York too,
Mhm.
you know. But I've lived all over, man. I lived in Arizona. I've lived in New York City. I've lived
Mm,
in Brooklyn, the Bronx. I lived in Massachusetts for a little while.
yeah.
Uh, Also lived down here where I am now for a little while. Man, I've lived like pretty much everywhere, you know, up and down the East Coast. So, you
Okay.
know,
Now, what made you move around so much? Somebody in the military or
um, no. When I went to a technical college for electrical installation, commercial and residential. So I was a journeyman electrician at first. I actually thought I wanted to be a master electrician.
Mhm.
So I followed work a lot. I did a lot of following of work, and much of it was contract work. So you would be there 2 years, 3 years, you know, 4 years. So wherever the work went, I went
Mhm.
basically. So.
Following that workaround.
Oh, absolutely.
That money.
Yeah, literally chasing a dollar, literally.
Yeah. No, that's how it goes. That's how young men do, man. That's we chasing that living, man. It sounds like you have children, of course. I've heard you speak
Yeah.
before children and whatnot. How many children do you have?
Well, I have
What's your
four.
family?
I have four. They're all adults.
Mhm.
My youngest is 20. I have a
Oh,
27.
okay.
I have a 27, almost 28-year-old daughter. I
Mhm.
have a 30-year-old son, and I have a 33-year-old son. So
Mhm. Mhm.
started having
Uh,
them young, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How was that a rough task?
Well, I had my first kid when I was like 17, 18. So
Okay.
by that time, I was already on my own, because I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17. So, I mean,
Stop
when
right
my
there for a
first,
second. Stop right
uh,
there. Is there a reason you moved out so young?
like any other person, I got tired of their
Rules.
rules. I wanted to be able
Okay.
to do the shit I wanted to
All
do.
right.
And I was in my senior year of high school. And
Okay.
but I always had a job. I mean, I was raised by a blue collar guy. My father, he had his own landscaping business for 25 years.
Mhm.
So, from the time I was maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, I was always working. I grew up, humping dirt and gravel and planting trees. And I mean,
Yeah.
by the time I was 11, 12, shit, I could operate any type of equipment, bulldozer, payload, a forklift, because my pops had all that shit.
Wow.
So, I was doing that kind of shit when I was like 11, 12 years old, and I'm tall, so I was a tall kid. By the time I was 12, I was driving my father's dump trucks to work
Mm.
sites and the whole nine. So yeah, that's how
Wow.
I came up.
How tall are you, brother?
I'm 6'2".
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a tall kid. Um, so all right, you moved out at 17. You was explaining your first kid, you had your first kid at 17, you said, and
Hmm.
you were going on to explain a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, he was an oops, an oops baby, as I
Okay.
also always refer to. He was a oops,
All
and
right.
me and his mother, we decided to go ahead and be together. And I mean, we had 3 more kids after that. My
Mhm.
ex, because we were both young, we both were, teenagers. And we decided to be together, man. I went off to school and all that kind of stuff, and worked and came back as much as I could, and I took care of my babies, and eventually, we had 4. And you
Mhm.
know, I actually thought that her and I were going to be together, forever,
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
young and stupid. But of course, that didn't
Mm.
happen. That didn't happen. I
Mhm,
mean,
mhm.
so
Yeah, shit got in between there.
yeah, we
Yeah,
we we were together for about 11 years, though. Yeah, we were together for about 11
yeah,
years.
okay.
Yeah, we were together for
Yeah,
11
well,
years. I guess
we
that's why I don't have a whole string of baby mamas out there, because all my kids, I had them in one place. They all
that's
came out of the same hole. So
I know you glad of that.
hell yeah.
Goddamn horror stories I've been hearing on
Yeah, man.
YouTube, man, been crazy. Shout out to Nicole Ali, Evil My brother Aaron, Brandon L, Little Rock. I'm sorry, Evolve May. I'm sorry. And brother Jay Shine. I just wanted to shout y'all out real quick since I see y'all at the bottom of the screen here. Um, yeah, so it sounds like you got all of your kids out by the same person, which is I would consider that a blessing. 11 years of marriage, a blessing. Um, were you in when you came up, what kind of class were you in? It sounded like you may have been hovering around the middle class there with your dad.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
we weren't rich, but
yeah,
we weren't eating
doing well.
roach. We weren't eating roaches either.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, my father was a hardworking man. He
Mhm.
had to be, because there was 9 of us. So, I
That was
mean,
my next question. Yep.
yeah, it was 9 of us.
Man, what do you fall?
I'm the next to the last. I have a sister that's younger than me, about 3 years
Okay.
younger than me, next to the
Okay,
last.
you almost a baby.
Yeah.
You the baby boy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So oh, spoiled brother.
Well, not spoiled,
Okay.
but I spent a lot more time with my father than my older
Si-
siblings did,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's 8.5 years between me and my next sibling. So
Oh,
by the time I was by the time I was 10 years old, all my older brothers and sisters were already out of the house. They're already gone, because they were so much more older than me. So by the time I was 10 years old, they were
mhm,
all gone. It was just me and my little sister at that point. So, things were probably better for her and I, because we
mhm.
were the 2 little ones. So, you know, We probably got a lot more shit than, the older ones got. Plus, it was less of us. So, that makes a difference too.
Yeah, no, that does make a real big difference. And so in terms of education, I heard you you were definitely bent on furthering your education from out of high school. Were you a great student in high school? Were you medium, or?
I guess I was all right. I took Regents classes all throughout high school. It was one of those things where you're going to the class and you're the only black person there.
Oh,
Yeah, it was one of those things. I mean, I doubled up when I was in my junior year of high school. I mean, my senior year of high school, I only had 3 classes. That's why I was able to work a full-time job. I mean, I went to school at like 7:30. By 9:30, I was out.
okay,
So I worked a 10 to 6:30 job when I was like 17 because I only had 3 classes my senior
right,
year of high school. So
yeah, yeah. No, that's nice. I so you were doing decent in school, and you went on into your technical career. And
mhm.
if I got it right, you went on into, when did you start your first business? Did you, and then let me know what kind of business is it? You started out, you said, in a technical school, like you
Yeah,
wanted to be an electrician.
yeah.
Eh,
I went to Alfred State
mhm.
in Weltsville, New York, not far from the Allegheny Mountains, where it's 11 months of damn winter and 1 month of summer.
Really?
I went to school up there
Mhm.
because I thought I wanted to be an electrician. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Um, but once I figured out that I had to work under a master electrician for like 7 years to be considered a master electrician, I was like, I don't think I want to do this for 7 whole damn years. I think I did it for about 2 or 3.
Mhm.
And then I just kind of shifted gears, man. I went back to school. Um, went to school for power mechanics, became a mechanical engineer, and I've been doing that pretty much ever since. I found my niche. I mean, electrical training comes in good. It comes in good because it helps with what I do.
Mhm.
So I have a background in electrical, and I also have a mechanical engineer too. So I went to school for I went to school for power mechanic, and I actually taught it. I was a professor for about
Oh,
2 years
man.
after I graduated mechanical school. But in the classroom and talking to folks just wasn't for me, man. I felt better being out on the field and getting my hands dirty, and just
Right.
it was better for me. So
So you were Professor Xavier.
uh yeah, when I was a young guy, yeah, I did. I taught at the very school that I graduated from.
Yeah.
um I was a teacher. They had me as a associate professor at first, and
Right.
then I was able to, that last year I was there, I actually was teaching my own classes and the whole nine. It just wasn't for me, man. I've always been an outdoorsy person. I guess I get that from my old man. um I can't be in an office setting
Mhm.
per se, or inside a building per se. I like being out in the dirt and the dust, and I like the smell of smoke and gasoline, and I like to hear
Oh, okay.
engines run. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you run what kind of shop is it that you running now?
I have a power mechanics shop. I do all kinds of stuff. I do all types of me and my guys, we do mechanical engineering, we do engine swaps. We
Oh,
work on
yeah.
motorcycles, outboard motors, commercial lawn equipment, bulldozers, payloaders, commercial log splitters. I
Yeah.
mean, you name it. So
So
we
you
work on all power equipment.
right. So you got your own shop for all of this. You got it sounds like a sizable space to work on all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I had one small shop that
Mhm.
was maybe, I don't know, maybe 200 square feet, 250 square feet.
Mhm, mhm,
I acquired another shop last year.
mhm,
That one is about 500 square feet, but
mhm.
that's for commercial stuff.
Okay.
Over there, I do skid steers, diesel engines, payloaders, bulldozers. At the smaller shop, I do, lawn equipment, generators,
Oh,
uh, trimmers, string trimmers, chainsaws, you know, that kind of stuff. Gas blowers, gas power jacks. We do that at the small shop. The big stuff over there. So have
Wow.
two
So
spots.
yeah, so you got a lot of people with the different expertise to help
Yeah,
you.
well, I have two guys that are with me full time. You
Okay.
know, they're with me year round. The other guys that I pick up, they're pretty much seasonal. You know, they come in usually around. I'll probably be bringing them in within the next 30 days or so. You know, as
Right.
stuff picks up. But I got
Yeah.
two guys. I got two guys. They've been with me for like 4 years. You know, they're my main guys. So they're my main dudes. I'm looking to hire. I'm looking to hire probably 8. Yeah, I'll need 8 more people this year.
Yeah. And this can take you on into retirement probably.
Well, I only want to be doing it for another 5 to 6 years. That's it. I wanted to run itself, man. I'm tired of working.
Yeah.
You know, I've been working all my life, man. I've been working ever since I was like 7 years old. Tired of working. So it feels good being the boss, but believe it or not, when you're the boss, you work hard. I work harder now than I did when I actually did this for other people. So
you could punch right on out and go home.
yeah.
He worry about the books. He worry about who not gonna come in.
Yeah, man. You know, when you running your own business, you have to consider everything. You have to consider the little stuff. You have to consider accounts payable, accounts receivable. You have to worry about how much ink is in the printer. You have to worry about how much paper is in the printer. If a computer break down, guess what? You got to buy that shit. You know, it's just that, you know, it's not like when you work for somebody, you know, you don't give a damn what's going on with the printer or the copy machine. It ain't your problem. When you running shit, it's your problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's your problem. So it's different. It's different.
Yeah, you got that right, man. Are you a religious person?
Believe it or not, I actually used to be in the Nation of Islam as a young guy, but I was raised by Southern Baptists, man. I mean, I come from church folk, man. I got pastors and bishops and Sunday school teachers. You know, those was my parents and grandparents. I mean, you know, I was raised in the church, man. I was raised in the church.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah, I was raised in the church. Can't you tell?
Yeah, hell no. Not no more. No, but I understand, like, we from the same generation, man. And yeah, Baptist here too, man. You know, my first, I don't know if it was from birth, but all I remember was church until about 12 years old. And then it was nothing for a while. It was straight rebellion of the religious talk for me for a while until I got into some trouble. Then I ran back in church for a little bit, and I don't know if it held me well. And then I went into the Nation of Islam for a couple of years. How long did you spend? How long was your stint in the Nation of Islam?
I was
was that mosque number 7?
Huh?
Was that mosque number 7?
No, I was in mosque number 25 because where I was located.
What was that? Where's mosque number 25?
Mosque number 25 is on Long Island. At least it was then.
Okay.
It was then.
Yeah. Okay.
I stayed in there for a little while, man, because I didn't really like what was going on in there. Then I just became a Muslim after that. I went from NOI to becoming a Muslim, you know, wearing the dashiki and the kufis and the whole 9. You know, I mean, I was that guy. Yeah, I was that guy. Didn't eat nothing but vegetables, didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't curse, didn't do any of that, you know. None of that stuff, you know, living pure. I mean, the lungs and all that shit is messed up now, but you know, back then everything was pink, you know, no drinking, no smoking, none of that, you know, pray 5 times a day, you know, the whole 9. Had my kids. I kind of brought my kids up as Muslim when they were younger. I mean, you know, I brought them up with it. My kids, they wore the kufis and the dashikis and all that too. So it was, yeah.
Hey,
you know.
yeah. Shout out to Lolita. I see you on the check-in. I appreciate you coming in and joining us. I appreciate the 7 that's got 17 watching and 17 likes. I appreciate y'all for that. So I don't know if I remember. You said how long did you spend in the Nation of Islam before you went into Orthodoxy?
About a year and a half,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years, possibly.
Yeah, that's somewhere around my stint. You know, I stayed with the understanding for quite some. Well, I still stay with the understanding. It's still the faith that undergirds a lot of my action. I learned a little bit about the Orthodox ways. Never dove fully into it. How much would you say religion in terms of your daily life? Like, do you believe in God? Let me just ask you that. Do you believe in Allah or God, or is that an accurate statement for you? Does that fit? X believes in God.
I believe that there is a God, if that makes any sense. Believe there is a God. I just don't feel like I have the full understanding of what that God is. You know, that's my stance on religion now, which is probably hard to believe with all the religion I've had in my life, you know, growing up, being raised by pastors and Sunday school teachers and all kind of stuff. You know, it's different now. As you get older, you know, you start to see things differently. You start to look at things differently. You start to understand things differently. So, I mean, I have a different understanding of what God is as opposed to younger years, you know, and I don't consider myself any type of religion right now. You know, I don't consider myself like any type of, you know, I'm not labeled under any type of religion as it stands right now.
How do you feel about how do you feel about those that are?
I don't have a problem with it. You know, because my wife, she's an Israelite. So, and I'm not. All right. And I'm not. So I don't really have a problem with religious folks. I believe, like I said, I believe there is a God. I just think that, you know, a lot of the people who claim to work for him don't. I believe God is pimped often. You know, they pimp God, you know, when it's convenient. You know, that's the only problem I would have with, like, you know, religion per se, is that I feel like a lot of people kind of pimp God, which is their right to do. But I feel like if you you know, if you're a quote unquote religious person, you know, you shouldn't be, you know, pimping God. You know, God should, you know, govern your life as opposed to, you know, God shielding your life from the BS. You know what I'm saying? The BS that you do. You know?
Yeah, nah, I get it. So I know from I can just tell from your number one, man, New Yorkers, they get into everything in terms of knowledge up there. I've especially if you anywhere near, I guess, Harlem or Brooklyn, you just about done heard every damn thing there is to hear about religion and Pan-Africanism and so forth and so on. So did you have a decent command on history at some point? Are you a big history buff? You do a lot of reading, a lot of research or whatever, or did you have that time in your life like a lot of people?
Yeah,
Or
I
was it
mean,
always about your work?
well, I came up doing a lot of reading because when I was a young child, and I know many people who are in our generation have went through this too. Wherever we lived, we had encyclopedias and almanacs and all that kind of stuff. Because my old man was heavy into having us learn how to read. So, you know, we were always reading encyclopedias and looking at the almanac and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, right now, it sticks with me right now because I watch very little television. I mean, you know, I do a lot of reading, you know, more than I watch television. When I do watch television, I watch, like, you know, documentaries, sports. You know, I don't watch any of the other crap. You know, I do more reading than I do anything else, you know. And of course, on this damn thing, you know, I be on here. Of course, I'm on the internet. But
Right.
yeah, I don't do a lot of television watching, man. TV has never been my thing. And it's crazy because my children, they don't really watch a lot of TV now either, because I treated television when they were younger, when I was with my ex, I treated television as a privilege, not a right. My kids didn't have TVs in their rooms and no crap like that. They got to watch TV, you know, on the weekend, some cartoons or something for an hour or two. I preferred them to either be out playing or reading. I did the same thing to them. I encouraged them to read, you know, as opposed to watching. There was no television in their room. There was a television in the living room, which they were allowed to watch on Saturdays, or maybe let them watch a kung fu flick or something like that. But I didn't let my children watch a lot of television. I encouraged them to read. If they weren't reading, they need to be outside playing, running around, exercising, doing something. So
Right. Yeah, this is good. Nice little coverage on your history, your younger days. Did you experience any trouble or tragedy in your young life? Like, did you have problems at some point with the law? Were you running the streets at some point, or were you pretty much focused on your purpose at a very young age? Which paths did you take?
well, I didn't start getting in trouble until I left my parents' house. I mean, long as I lived under my father's roof, you know, he wasn't tolerating that BS. But
Okay.
once I was out on my own and could come and go as I please and did whatever I want, that's when I ran into shit. You know, I carried the gun. I didn't even really get exposed to the hood until after I was out of my parents' house. That's when I started hanging in the hood and, you know, smoking weed and
Mhm,
drinking and all that kind of nonsense, carrying guns and all that kind of nonsense.
mhm,
All
mhm.
that stuff started after I left my old man's house, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But did you have any run-ins where you had to do any uh time, or I mean, and that's if you even care to share
Yeah, I've
anything.
been shit. I ain't ashamed. I mean, I've been locked up before. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you get locked up from time to time when you're doing crazy shit. You know, but that was
Part of it.
that was when I was a young dude, though. You know, I was young and stupid. You know, doing all kinds of stupid shit. You know, just I don't know, shit that I didn't really have to do,
Mhm,
but I
mhm.
was doing it anyway. You
Okay.
know, I was doing it anyway. So
I understand. I understand. Nothing that I suppose nothing you did nothing that caused you no long term
nah.
of any major bearing on your life.
Nah,
Uh
I
yeah.
never killed nobody, you
All
know,
right.
never raped
You never
nobody,
know.
never robbed a bank, you know, never. I did steal a car one time, you know, but
Yeah,
that was a
yeah,
long time
yeah.
ago. But yeah, I never did nothing, never hurt nobody, you know,
Okay.
never, you know, I shot at people,
Uh-huh.
never shot anyone, you know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did stab
Okay.
somebody one
Oh,
time,
shit.
you know, but that was in self-defense though. Yeah, self-defense.
I
But you
understand.
know, never really did nothing to hurt nobody, man. You know, no one ever endured any injury, you know,
Okay.
because of something I did. You know,
Yeah,
all
nah.
my shit was property shit, you know,
Mhm, mhm.
doing stupid property shit, man. You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah, nah, I understand. The average life of somebody that's ADOS, black male, we share similar backgrounds most of the time. I guess it depends on which class we fall in and when we decide to break away from home and experiment with different things. What is one of the most difficult situations of your life that you learned from that you would kind of share? Like, what usually there's something, sometimes, I was sick, sometimes it's I lost this person, what are one of your big that kind of may have changed your direction, like, or changed your paradigm that shifted it? One, I know for somebody who was at one point into religion and then you move out, that's a pretty heavy paradigm shift. That's one. But are there any other stronger ones that you think would benefit the audience in sharing? I know
Well,
we've been.
well, I have quite a few. How much time do you have?
Mhm.
How much time do
Hey,
you have?
just choose. Yeah, hey, just let's choose one of them and let's see how it goes, man. Because we're here to benefit the listeners. So
I
um,
think the the greatest lesson I learned as a young guy when I was about 18 or 19. And it's crazy because at the time, I was, with my ex when I was doing this shit. But anyway, I I ran into this girl when I was like 18, and people have heard me tell this story before, man, many times. And I met this chick, and she told me that she was 18 and she looked it. Okay, she looked it, and we started hanging out, and before you know it, I was smashing it, you know. And yeah, I was smashing on the regular, smashing in the back of my car and all that kind of nonsense.
yeah.
And I was off of work one day, and I had a doctor's appointment, man. And I was driving around, and I came down through School Street out here, out on Long Island. There's a street called School Street, and there's nothing but schools on it. And I was
Indeed.
riding down through School Street, man, and I looked and I seen a bunch of little girls out there, playing field hockey,
Mhm.
right? And from the distance, I could tell that one of the people out there was this girl that I had been smashing.
Mhm.
Now, she was so much bigger and so much more developed than the other girls. When I saw her, I was like, damn, I thought maybe she was one of the coaches, or, like a assistant coach or something like that, because of how she was built. So, I'm a breeze over there. I'm in my car. I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna go over there and fuck with her. So
Uh-huh.
as I get closer, I notice she's not coaching them, she's playing with them.
Hmm.
I'm like, wait a goddamn minute, right? So she sees my car, because she knows the car, she'd have been banged in it a few times. So of course she knows the car. So I just keep on going. She shows up a few days later, and she's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you, I'm only 14, I'm about to be 15, I didn't think you want to be with me anymore if I would have told you, and all that kind of nonsense. So, of course, I was like, look here, girl, we can't do this no more. Now that was traumatic because, see, back during that time, I've told people about this before, but what I didn't mention is during that time, a lot of brothers was getting jammed up with that shit. Brothers was going to jail and whole nine, because they was knocking girls up. That was like 13, all kind of shit. And I had always swore that shit off. I was like, not me, not me, not me. And here I am in the goddamn midst of something I didn't want to be in the midst of. And I had hit it raw a couple times, and I was like, oh man, she popped up pregnant. And so I went through it for about 2 months, boy. I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Hmm.
I was scared the police were gonna come knocking. I didn't know what to do. For like 2 months, I was just a wreck. So I've always told brothers to vet these girls, man. You have to
Okay.
vet them. And that shit steered me away from young women. All right.
Really?
Hell yeah, man. I was one of those dudes who was straight up like, girl, how old are you? How old are you? How old are you? I needed to see it too.
Yeah.
I proofing
Yeah.
chicks in the whole nine after that, man, on the real, like a doorman at a nightclub.
Hmm.
And I need to see some ID, girl, or this shit ain't gonna happen. You know?
Yeah. That's tough, dude.
Yeah, man.
Wow. So yeah, so that was a paradigm shifter or a view shifter, change some actions in your life.
Hell yeah.
How you
Hell yeah, boy.
on a way to move forward. Did you have any others that were some that kind of reshaped how you went about your life? And then we're gonna get into how you got here. Like, how did you get to YouTube after that?
Yeah, well, I learned to pay attention more. I was kind of loosey goosey guy when I
Mm.
was young, you know, kind of, carefree, I didn't have a problem with the knuckle game.
Mm.
I was raised up, by a silverback gorilla as a father.
Mhm.
My two oldest brothers were military guys. You know, my other two brothers, you know, they fought all the time. So I mean, I didn't have a problem fighting because my brothers are huge dudes. You know, I'm only I'm taller than my two oldest brothers, but my other two brothers, one of my brothers is like 6'5", my other brother's 6'8". So I grew up with grown ass men. I mean, when I was 6 years old, man, I had big brothers that were like 17, 18.
Mhm.
So I mean, I was always around big dudes. And when you're the little guy, you catch a lot of pain.
Mhm.
You catch a lot of
Mhm.
pain. And
Yeah.
so when I came up to be 11, 12, 13 years old, I didn't have a problem fighting people because I had fought giants. You know,
Mhm.
I fought with giants at the house. So you know, if we was fighting, you better had been bigger than me. That's the only way you gonna stand a chance. Because
Right.
like I said, I used to have to go at it with, you know, 6'6" grown ass men when I was when I was a little guy, you know, because they'd run up, punch you in the chest, body slam you,
Yeah,
you'd be laying in the bed, you come up, punch you in the head. You know, you had to be kind of tough, boy. It was a berserker's barrage coming up in the crib, boy. I'm
indeed.
telling you, it was rough. It was rough. And like I said, my two older brothers, they were military guys. So they were always trying to make you tough, make you do push-ups, make you do sit-ups, you know, all kinds of shit, make you do pull-ups,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yes.
that's how I came up. I
Mhm.
came up like that. So
Indeed.
they wasn't tolerating the little brother to be no punk. Yeah, they wasn't tolerating that. Neither was my old man. I mean, my older brothers, you know, they taught me how to box. My oldest brother, he was a wrestling champion. So, you know, he taught me how to wrestle and all that kind of stuff. So I was raised up around a lot of dudes, man. I mean, came
Yeah.
up around dudes. Came
Yeah.
up around
Yeah.
dudes.
Okay. Yeah. So
So
your life, um, I'm wondering, you know, as I learn more about this whole matriarch piece, man, that we came up in, uh, it's actually consuming a portion of my time when I speak to brothers now. Uh, Meaning I'm trying to see how close are they to the red pill thinking or whoop, excuse me, one second. Okay, sorry about that, brother X.
all good.
Uh, taking care of some family, that daggone noise, man. What was I asking you about? I was just asking.
Uh, how we was coming up and, you know, background and all that. I was telling
Yeah,
you about
background.
how I came up around a lot of dudes.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I was talking about myself like now that because you were one of the first brothers that I came into a circle with, and brothers was giving me the business, man, because at that time I was real green on red pill understanding and manospheric talk, and I didn't know the jargon, man. So I was, you know, straight out simp to some, part simp to others, and probably a whole lot of other adjectives and whatnot for other people. And I remember being on one of your panels, and I think Jay Shine was there, man, and they was going in. I was like, "What did Brother X invite me to, man?" And this was one of
It
the times where
must
I
have been a
got
DXL night. That must have been a Dark X Live night.
Thursday. I think it was a
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh yeah, Thursdays get crazy, boy.
Yeah, I
Thursdays
think
are
you
crazy.
wanted to baptize me right quick. I got baptized. I think Jay Shine baptized me, man.
Yeah, man.
And so it was great because the brothers still were respectful towards me while they was patient while I got a better understanding. I think they understood that brother really doesn't, he's really green here, you know. And I appreciated you inviting me to that. And I see that from what you're saying that you came up around a lot of men. Now, at that time, there was no quote unquote necessarily something called red pill knowledge or understanding, but did you come up around men that understood that we were under a gynocracy and they were rebelling against it? Or would you say you came up in the gynocracy like everybody else, and at one point in your life you was simping and didn't know it? Or did you kind of have a command on that?
Well, I think many of us, it kind of seeps into us as we get older. I mean, my father, like I tell everybody, my father was like a silverback gorilla. I mean, he was the king of his castle and his word was law. That was it. Okay. It was nothing in between that. The house was a castle. He was the king. His word was law. And that went for my mama too. So, I mean, I came up around that. But I also came up in a time where, they told you that, always have respect for a woman, always, kind of treat women differently. You come up around that too.
Right.
I mean, once you're out there on your own and you don't have the governance of your father like you used to, you kind of find yourself in contact with different elements, especially when you're around women. So there's this revolving theme that, women deserve special treatment. They deserve special considerations. They, don't curse around them. Don't, yell around them. Don't do X, Y, and Z because, women are in the room. I also had that, so I think we all are simps at some point.
Okay. So you came up out of that, and in the chat room, I saw somebody said that it. I I saw that you couldn't hear me. Let me know. Press a 1 or something if I'm coming through clear. Hey, Charles Willie. So yeah, you said everybody comes up at some point in their life, in what we came up under in ADOS as some sort of simp at some point in their life. So tell me when you started to. I heard one point that you gave me, and when you started to vet women more. When did you come into this red pill understanding? And let me ask you: are you not necessarily a card carrying member of, red pill understanding or manospheric understanding, but you sound like you have a firm grip on that ideology? Am I right about that?
Yeah. I mean, I tell brothers this all the time. I mean, once I got to be, because I probably simped up until the time I was like, 18 till about early 20s. But by then, something else had taken over. And I tell brothers, I was red pill before red pill was red pill. I didn't give a damn about women back then when I was younger. I didn't believe anymore that they deserved special treatment. I didn't believe that special exceptions should be taken for them. I didn't trust them. I had a saying, when it came to children, that the women should just dump them out, and after they dump them out, just give them to their fathers. I was saying that years ago.
Mhm.
So, I mean, as I've gotten older, I have kind of calmed it down a little, but not much. I kind of still believe some of those things. I'm just a little more moderate than I was when I was a younger guy. But I mean, the red pill philosophy, I don't agree with everything about it, but I agree with most things. Okay.
Okay.
I agree with most of the ideology, and I understand why brothers are in it, just like I understand why brothers are MGTOW and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I understand why they're in it, because if I was their age, if I was those guys' age, say, because a lot of them, you know, they're like millennials, 25, 35. If I was their age, I would probably be the same way, given what I see today. What I see today, if I was a 25-year-old man, I'd probably be one of those MGTOW brothers too.
Yeah.
If I was like 25. So I
Yeah.
get it.
And you know, I do too. And you explaining it perfectly, because I think our age group, unless you've particularly gone through something that makes you say, man, where the experience made your life hell, where you have to find some ideology that is suitable for you to move forward in any kind of comfortable way, you know. Our age group, like, I swear, it just doesn't have the same thing. Which makes BGS a very interesting phenomenon, because he has understood that this has been going on for a very long time, and that makes him like a lot more interesting, because he's beyond our age and understands this thing inside out. So I'm glad it exists, the red pill and the, you know, and I'm watching brothers go through what they call red pill rage, and I'm okay with it now, man. Would you say that you have a pretty, you're comfortable with it at this point? Your knowledge of it, it's like a necessary thing for brothers to go through.
Well, I actually watch quite a few red pill brothers. You know, I mean, some of the brothers I'm aligned with, because a lot of them watch my stuff. You know, I don't know why I always say this. I'm the very antithesis of what the MGTOW and red pill brothers are. But I am actually aligned with quite a few of them, the red pill brothers. And I believe that the red pill brothers, they do share very valuable knowledge for brothers, especially young brothers.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not so much on board with the so-called red pill rage, but I believe that the red pill influence is a good thing for brothers. I think it's a good thing for them. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. The more red pill brothers, the better.
Yeah.
That's what I think. The
Yeah.
more, the better.
Yeah, I think it's, I actually see them as a part of the warrior class men. Like when they get this and they get on top of their game, you know, zooming in on what it means to be a man, actually, man, and you know, the whole point of self-improvement is, I've been hearing a lot about that from my brother C Boogie, a lot about improving yourself, man, and so that you can direct your own path and not be overly influenced by the female perspective on what it means to be a man. Always trying to live your life on to become a man as defined by females. And I think we've been doing quite a bit of that. And so I think as I move through YouTube and do the interviews, man, this is probably going to be a part of my conversation quite a bit now. Have you seen where that always enters your conversations when you do your interviews?
Most of
I
the
guess
time,
it fails anyway.
yes. Yeah, most of the time, yes. I try to integrate some of the red pill stuff into most things. I mean, it kind of comes natural for me, because you know, I kind of have a red pill personality. So I mean, it comes kind of natural to me, you know, for some red pill stuff to be integrated into a conversation. I mean, it's a little different depending on what kind of interview you're doing,
Okay.
and who you're interviewing, and what the subject is about. Subject matter is very important.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you have certain subject matters, red pill isn't necessarily needed per se. I mean, if it's going to come into the interview, you know, you got to kind of let that come naturally. You don't have to purposely interject it. It'll just kind of come in naturally if it's there. It all depends on who I'm talking to. All depends.
Yeah. Social media, bro. Let's go on and move it on up.
Okay.
What brought you into the social media environment, and then did you start off by wanting to do the interviews, and how long ago was this?
Well, I used to work for a radio station. I used to have a radio talk show. I worked for Nubia Hood Radio, and I did that for a few years. And I wasn't really into the YouTube thing. I mean, the YouTube is kind of it's kind of a segue from radio. I mean, I started in radio, doing radio stuff. And I decided to start my own YouTube page while I was still working for the radio station. Because I used to manage their media, the Facebook and the Twitter and the YouTube page. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll start my own stuff. And because when I started out, I was just putting videos like on Facebook and stuff like that. And my wife had a YouTube page before I did. And I used to make little videos and talks. I had a little cheesy camera, and I used to make little cheesy videos and talk behind them and put them on her page, on her YouTube page. And she was like, well, I've been getting a lot of feedback. Women, they like your voice and all this kind of stuff. You should go ahead and make your own YouTube page. And that's kind of where it came from. I mean, my YouTube platform really got started back when Hadia Pendleton got murdered in Chicago. That's kind of when it really took off. When I saw that, I mean, she was the same age as my daughter. She actually looked like my daughter. And I was like, man, I need to start talking about this stuff. And it kind of just led off from there. That's kind of when it really took off. That's when it really took off. I mean, I had already been doing radio, but it kind of took off from there.
What platform was, when you say radio, are you talking about like a FM station or a blog talk or?
Yeah, well, it was an internet radio station, broadcast through satellite. And I did that for a couple years. I mean, I had my own show. It was called the Prophet of Thought series. Came on every Thursday night. Came on every Thursday from 8 to 10. Sometimes we would go all the way up to 12, depending on what was going on. Yeah, I did that for a couple of years. I had my own show on the radio once a week. Yeah, I did that for a while.
Right. Shout out to Takia Woodward. Welcome back, fam. Thanks for coming through. So the Prophet of Thought series. Now, I know you said something about the Prophet earlier. What made you call your radio show The Prophet of Thought?
Well, actually, it came from my earlier days of, growing up in the church. Yeah, that too. Yeah, well, it's a combination of all of it. Coming up in the church, coming up through a hip hop world, the prophet, because people always have this thing about a prophet, a quote unquote prophet. So I figured, what would be better than having a prophet of thought, meaning not a prophet who actually gave prophecies and told you your future, but a prophet who actually prophesies about thoughts as opposed to events. So that's kind of where that all came from. And it is a series. People don't get the series part of it. But if they look at my page, they will understand the series part of it. Because if you look on my page, there's like 7, 8, 9 different series. There's not just one thing. I mean, there's different series. You got the Dark Exodus series. You got the X2 series. You got the X Explained series. You got the, I mean, there's like 8 or 9 different series on that page. So it's the Prophet of Thought series.
Right. Nah, that makes sense. And Again, tell me how many years you've been doing it on YouTube.
Well, I started my YouTube page in the end of 2015, so
Oh, okay.
hasn't even been 4 years.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I started like November 2015. That's when I started my YouTube page and start actually putting videos and content on it.
Indeed, indeed. Have you ever had or ran into YouTube beef or anytime that you felt a need to go back at someone
Of
because of
course, of
material that they put
course,
out?
of course. Of
Yeah.
course, I haven't had to clap back on people because that's not really what I do. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly capable of it. We all are,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
that's not really what I do. Um, I had to do it a time or two because someone didn't just attack me, they attacked the group, because when I first started this, it was actually called the Proper Thought Series Media Group because I had
Mhm.
a lot of people when I first started, like when I was on the radio, I had a co-host, I had a correspondent, I had a digital engineer, I had a producer, I had all these kind of people. I mean, at one point, man, I had a group, it was like eight people where we would like go on location, tape Dr. Umar, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing that. So somebody had came at the group, and of course, the group, I had two of the girls who are in my group. They were like, well, we need to say something back to this person. Because at first I was just gonna let it slide, but the girls was like, oh, we got to say something back. So we made a clap back to that. Uh,
Mhm.
I've clapped at people on behalf of others. I've done that as well. But I mean, if you look at my stuff, you won't see a lot of clap back beef, and it's probably 3 videos that you can consider, a clap back. I did have to clap back on an author one time because she came on the show when I was on the radio, and
Right.
she accused me and my team of some BS. So, we went at her. So, like I said, maybe 3 or 4 videos you can find out of the 300 that I have up there that you could actually consider me clapping back on someone, because that's not really what I do. But if you fuck with me now, don't
Mhm, mhm.
get it twisted. X is no soft target. Hardly.
Right.
Hardly.
Right. Yeah, nah, that's what's up, and I don't don't doubt that for a second. Um, no, that was the only time that there was maybe a particular beef that you had.
Yeah, I mean, my beefs that I have with people is if people come at me in general, if they come at me in a group, one person coming at me don't really bother me that much. But if you come at me as a group, I'll fuck around and address the group.
Okay.
Uh, I've had to do that because I actually clashed with some of the Red Pill MGTOW brothers, a time back. And, they was kind of coming at me. So, I just addressed them as a group. I didn't address one person. I addressed them as a group.
Right.
So, I mean, it all depends, man. I mean, I assess shit. I always assess the situation.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh.
sit back and I watch it and I think about it, and decide whether or not I'm going to respond or if I'm going to respond at all. But here, it's part of the deal, you know. It's part
Mhm.
of the deal, man. If you're on this internet stuff, and especially if you get some degree of popularity, you're gonna have some problems. You're gonna have people who talk shit to you, talk shit about you, But I've been fortunate. I don't have a lot of that because I'm aligned with a lot of good people, and I'm aligned with people all over the spectrum. I mean, you'll see people on my show that you won't see nowhere else.
Right.
That's why at the end of my stuff, you hear me say only on TPOT Media, because you see stuff on my show that you will not see anywhere else. You'll see people there that you won't see anywhere else.
Nah,
That's kind of how I bill it,
right.
you know.
Nah, that's real talk. Give me. Um, So good. I'm glad to know that you didn't have to come through anything, too serious on here. I mean, whatever serious means on YouTube, but nobody tried to block your channel and get your channel taken down. And it looks like you govern yourself according to, like, you won't say anything that will get your channel blocked or taken down and all that kind of stuff. You look like you move in a very responsible manner.
Well, I try to. Um, I try to, at the very least, you know, keep the channel. Now, don't get me wrong. Like on Thursday nights, it's pretty uncensored. A lot of the shit that gets said on there, I'm surprised my damn channel's still up. But that's not all that I do. I mean, if you come on Wednesday nights, it's a total different vibe. It's totally different on Wednesdays. Wednesdays and Thursdays are night and day. Just like some of my material, my pre-recorded stuff, it's night and day from what I do on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night. That's why I say it's a series. I mean, you come on my channel, you see all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's not just one thing. It's not a one-dimensional channel at all. There's so many different types of things on that channel. So I try to have a little something for everybody, man. You're bound to find some shit that you hate, but you're definitely gonna find some shit that you like too.
Yeah. No, I've been watching you, so I've seen the various material that you go after, and the different styles that you choose to do it in. You're definitely one of my go-tos when I'm looking to study people, so I can figure out what path that I want to take in my expansion efforts. So that's a big deal to me, and I don't see you as one of the brothers who mind me doing it. You look very charitable. You look like you give everybody their due online, man. I never seen you be a hater. Um, I could tell you come from good stock, man, and I definitely have been appreciating your presence in YouTube. A brother my age, man, that kind of shares some of the similar values. I could tell you were definitely ahead of me when it came to certain things regarding YouTube streets, man. And you've been kind of helping to guide me through it, actually. So for that, I'm definitely thanking you. What do you plan to do? Because you see, you're a businessman, so it's like you got your real business, but then YouTube business for you looks real to me too. Like it looks like real. You take this seriously. So with that said, what are your plans now? Like where you are you taking it somewhere, or are you doing what you want to do with it? You're doing exactly what you plan to do with it?
Well, it's growing. Believe it or not, the channel's growing. I sat when I first started, even though I was a radio guy, I sat on like 120 subscribers for like a year, but here lately, as I've been making the rounds and more people know me and more people watch my stuff, it's growing, and it's growing pretty quick. So I've taken, anyone who's followed me know that every year or so, I start giving different looks. I start doing different shit. I start adding different series. I do different formats. So I'm just going to continue to do that. I try to give people different looks, give people something different to look at. I mean, of course, you're going to have the classic, X stuff on there, but you're also going to have other stuff on there. What I used to do, cause I've been rocking out by myself for a while, but this is something recent. I mean, within the last year or so. I mean, because I always had a team. I mean, I always had other people, man. I had co-hosts and correspondents. I had somebody who was TPOT New York, who we used to get stories from New York and, all that kind of stuff. I mean, now I'm strictly by myself now, something that I haven't been throughout. And it seems like since I've been by myself, I've achieved the most growth. So
Really?
what that tell yeah, I achieved the most growth when I was by myself. I mean,
Mhm.
ever since people have heard me talk about this before, ever since I've been by myself, not only has my donations risen by like 30%, I mean, my
Mhm.
subscriptions have risen by about 35%. My
Mhm.
views have risen by about 30%. My audience is growing. I have more female listeners and subscribers. So I mean, it's growing. So
Right.
something tells me that the by myself formula is the one to stick with. That's the
Nah, it
one to
sounds
stick
like
with.
it.
So that's where
Yeah.
I'm at now. And I've been doing it like solo now for like, I guess like close to almost a year. Cause like I
Mhm.
said, I always had a team, man. I always had a team of people ever since I started. Told you at one point, man, I had like 8, 9 people. It was myself and like 8 others part of this
Mhm.
TPOT thing, you know?
Indeed, indeed. You know, that's a good thing. To realize that your power, like you usually see your strength in numbers, but to realize that, damn, you know what, I'm growing more now than I was before. I think I would be pretty excited to learn that about my own efforts, or my ability to excite people around just what I'm doing, which is kind of like what I've been doing. I've had a lot of help around YouTube. You've seen, where I've been, and you know where I be, and this has been a great experience for me, man. A 50-year-old, I think it's the perfect outlet is right here. I don't gotta, run out in the street. I can be right at home and get some good conversation in and get my intelligence up, man. Refer to the latest books, articles, like everything is here to me. So I don't see any need to go anywhere else. Um, is that Do you still have extracurriculars outside of YouTube, or is this like one of your main things here, like for your extracurricular activity?
Well, actually, I do old guy stuff. I have
Okay.
because I have my house sits on a 1 acre plot, and half of that is garden. So,
Okay.
I grow my own fruits and
You broke
vegetables.
up for a second. You said your house sits on a what?
Yeah, my house sits on a 1 acre lot, and half of that is garden.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
I grow my own food. I grow melons, strawberries, blueberries, 4 or 5 different types of honeydews.
Oh, dang.
I grow collard greens, 2 types of lettuce, 2 types of cucumbers. I grow
Nice.
peas, string beans, broccoli, 7 different types of tomatoes. So I spend a lot of time in the garden too. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in my garden. Uh, I like spending time with my dog. I got a huge mutt, and he's crazy. He's like the best friend I got. He'll follow me right into a burning building. He won't even hesitate to follow me into a burning building. So I spend
Mhm.
a lot of time with him. Uh, Now I actually have the time. In about a month from now, I'm not really going to have the time to do that much stuff. So I try to do as much of it now as I can.
Mhm.
And you know, luckily I have a woman who supports my life, and she's right there with me. So I'm afforded to do things that I couldn't do when I was younger because I had so many damn kids.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing the things now that I wanted to start my own business when I was like 26,
Mhm.
but I couldn't because not only was the opportunity not there, the money wasn't there. All my kids are adults now. So,
Indeed.
only got to be responsible for, my wife and myself, and, every
Mhm.
now and then throw the grandkids something.
Right,
But,
right.
my life is different now. I mean, I have a lot more freedom now than I ever had.
Right.
Now that all my kids are grown adults with their own lives and wives and husbands and all kind of stuff. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it's just different. I'm only responsible for my wife and my dog. So,
Yeah.
life is different. my business is taking off. It's growing.
Nice.
You know, it's growing. So, I want to be able to leave something, to my children and my grandchildren, because I got 5 grandkids. So, I want to be able to leave them something, man. I figure if I pass it down, and we pass it down every generation, not only does it have the potential to grow every generation, we'll always have it.
Awesome.
Every generation, we just pass it down. So, I may not live to see, it become this big, enormous thing, but I can go to my grave knowing that I left something for my family to fall back on once I'm gone. Because see, I'm a patriarch now because my old man is dead. So I'm the old guy now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I am the old guy. So I kind of live my life like that. What I do, I just don't do for me. Because I mean, far as me and my wife is concerned, shit, man, we can get us a goddamn we can get us one of them damn thing, a Winnebago. We can get us one of them.
Yeah.
Buy one of them and just ride the world till we dead.
Yes,
but
indeed.
I do what I do because I think about the people who come behind me. I think about my offspring. I think about my grandchildren. So, and I tell them all the time, I don't just do this for me. I'm doing this for y'all too. Because when I'm dead and gone, y'all will have this. You won't have to work for anybody if you don't want to. You won't have to rely on others to give you a house if you don't want to. So, I mean, that's what I think about, man. I think about more than myself. I'm a big person. I'm big on legacy. Okay. Like I said, I'm the patriarch now. I'm the old dude now. So I think about everything under that, man. I think about leaving legacy. I got a bunch of little people running around here with my last name, my father's last name. So I mean, I think about that. So I try not to take this YouTube stuff too seriously, because I always say this. I say I don't really need a YouTube family because I have a real one. I have a real one. I have people who love me whether I'm on YouTube or not. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at as a human being. I mean, I say this a lot too. I mean, if they launched a missile into YouTube tonight, it wouldn't affect my bottom line. I mean, it just wouldn't. It wouldn't stop anything that I'm doing. I mean, I would miss it a little, but it wouldn't, it wouldn't stop what I'm doing, man. It just wouldn't. I mean, those are the facts.
That's a secure position to be in, man. I'm appreciating that. I usually don't take my personal interviews off into a topic, but this is one that because I want to end it this way. Because I've learned quite a bit about you talking about your past and what brought you here, and to learn the fact that you're doing things according to your plan, and that you're working on a legacy to build for your children in your real life. I want to ask you 2 more things before we get out of here. And one is, me as a kind of somebody who's following in your pathway in terms of YouTube and doing interviews and trying to even diversify the content that I'm doing. What you've been watching me for a while now, what would be your advice to me and then what I'm doing?
I would say stick with your original formula. I believe we talked about this before. Interviews aren't interrogations. And what I do when I interview people, I don't pay any attention to the chat unless the person I'm interviewing pays attention to the chat. If they're not paying attention to the chat, neither the hell do I. If they bring the chat into it, and then I'll veer over and I'll kind of work it in there. But and you have to gauge many times who you're interviewing. some people you interview, you can't interview them the same way you interview others. It all depends on who they are. When I interview someone like Saharazad Ali, I wouldn't talk with her the same way I would talk to, you know, someone else on YouTube, you know, because of who she is. Just like when I talk to a Dr. Umar, you know, when I talk to him, the questions I ask him are going to be a little different than the questions, say, I would ask you if I'm interviewing you because of who you are, you know? So, I mean, just kind of focus on that and just let it flow naturally. I mean, when you're doing an interview, never try to do a lot of thinking. You do a lot of thinking, you end up you end up forgetting the questions you was gonna ask and all this kind of stuff, especially if you don't have it written down. If you have talking points written down, that's different. But if you're not writing things down, try not to, you know, well, I'm gonna ask them this, I'm gonna ask them that. Nah, just go ahead and let it flow. And usually when you do an interview, the topics kind of create themselves. That's what I tell everybody. They create themselves, man. You don't really have to go in there, well, I'm going to talk about X, Y, and Z. You don't really have to do that. Because once they go to talking and you're listening to them, you can kind of glean questions from what they're saying to what they're saying. That's what I do. I glean a lot of my questions from what they're saying. I mean, the topics when you interviewing people, man, they kind of let it create itself. And don't worry about what people in the chat want you to ask them. You entertain that shit if you want to. If you want to. You know, because, you know, you get people in your chat and say, oh, man, why you didn't ask him this? Why you didn't ask her that? You know, don't even pay attention to that shit because you're doing the interview. They're not. They are not. They're not. So it's like you don't worry about people telling you to do something that they're not doing, have never done, or have no intention on doing. Because most of the people on YouTube aren't content creators, man. They're content spectators, most of them. And I mean most of them, probably to the tune of 70, 80%. Most people don't even have content on their channels. It's just an empty avatar most of the time, minus a face. So you can't let these people dictate how you operate because that's what they'll try to do. You know,
you get thrown off. I've been thrown off.
To throw you off. Just do your thing, man, and let it flow, man. I like your interview style, man. Don't change that shit up for nothing. It seems natural. You having fun with it. You know, the guests, they seem comfortable. That's all you want. Because like I said, an interview isn't an interrogation. An interview isn't a debate. See, everybody like to see debates. But when you're interviewing someone, you invite somebody on for an interview, you want them to feel comfortable. You're not bringing them on there to make them feel uncomfortable and drop off the stream. That's not an interview. That's not an interview. That's an interrogation. You go ahead and you let the people talk about what they want to talk about, and you glean those questions you want to ask from within that. That's it. That's how I do it. I mean, I don't even prepare. You know how I prepare? I go out, if they have a website, I look at their website. They have a channel. I watch a few of their videos, you know, see what that's about. But that's it. I mean, I don't write none down. Well, I'm going to ask them this, that. Nope. Don't do none of that. They come on. I start off with a question. I sit back. I listen. And if I can glean something out of what they said, that's fine. If I can't, I go ahead and, you know, ask a generic question. You ask them a generic question. That's where you get your most gleaning from. When you ask them something generic, the answer that they give you automatically makes it so you can glean some more questions out of that. I mean, like I said, I like your interview style, man. Keep it going just the way it's going. Have fun with it. Let the people feel comfortable. I mean, if people want to see a debate, they can go to another channel or watch you when you're doing a debate. You can't expect me to debate with the person while I'm doing an interview. That's stupid. Hey, I ain't bring them here to debate, man. I didn't bring them here to roast them. I brought them here to do some Q&A. So whatever.
That's what people want you to do sometimes.
They want you to roast people. I didn't bring them here to roast them. I
Yeah.
brought them here to ask them some questions and see if they'll answer them.
Right.
That's it. I'm not going to roast them. Even if they answer the question, if they answer my question in a way that I disagree with, I will just say that. And sometimes I don't even do that because I ask them the
I
question.
know.
That is their answer.
Yeah.
That's their answer.
Yeah.
So I leave it at that because I'll
Yeah.
say this again. It's an interview.
Yeah.
You're interviewing the people. However they answer, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, we got to get away from everything is a roast session. Everything is a debate. Everything is a chance to call somebody on the carpet. There's a time and a place for that. I don't feel that interviews are like, I don't think that's the time or the place to roast somebody or challenge them or nah. Nah, that's not the
I
time.
agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with you wholeheartedly there. That's kind of one of the I think you learn that as an interviewer. I think I've seen you be very impartial with your interview style. Another person I watch do it is O'Shea. He's very impartial, very mature about it. And then you, like you say, you just have the conversation. Um, a good one, a good example came up not yesterday, Sunday with Vicky Dillard. Um, and people wanted to kind of go in a little bit on the wig, her broadcast she did about weaves or whatever, you know. And the chat was, kind of revving up to try to, you know, get negative about, because their opinion was so different than what her teaching was. And I think
They ready to roast.
they wanted me to go in,
Yeah.
like don't let her get away with that, And I that's not why I brought her there. So I don't, if that was the question, I would have made the topic be that and then invite her to come and, discuss the topic.
Exactly.
Then we go in on that. So I'm glad to hear you kind of convey that understanding, that similar understanding that I have when you're conducting interviews. I want to ask you, here's the second thing that I want to, I'm gonna start asking everybody about that are maybe just everybody. I don't talk to nobody outside of black folks too, but not that I won't, but I just haven't. ADOS, man, American descendants of slavery. Um, just give me your overarching thoughts about it. You can go as deep as you want or as surface as you want. Just what's your general opinion about it?
I was on Brother Infoman's show the other day, and this was the topic. And I said then, and I'll say now that
Shout out to Information Man.
yeah, Info, that's my dude.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I believe that some people are deserving of it. Yes. I don't feel like I'm one of those people. I don't feel like I deserve it per se.
Okay.
I think that people who feel they deserve it should get it. I don't necessarily feel like I'm one of those people where I, deserve reparations, or I don't think I deserve that. I'm not really big on the government giving me anything, even if it's something that everybody claims we're owed. They say we're owed it. Fine. I don't want them to give me anything for the simple fact that anything that the government gives black folks is going to come with conditions. So I don't want to be under those conditions. Take whatever you're going to give me and give it to somebody who's worse off than me. Because like I said, I don't necessarily think I need it per se.
Oh.
I mean, I don't, I
is
know
there
there's people more deserving of it than me.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Is there a difference between in your thinking need and owed? Like, so is it that you feel like it's you feel like the debt would be better served to somebody who actually needs it. And what you're saying is that you will personally say, hey, I'm doing fine. Hey, if it would serve this group a little better, I prefer my share go there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean,
Well,
because I know there's
why wouldn't
people
you
out
feel
there.
like you deserve it? Why wouldn't you feel like you deserve it?
Because I'm of the mind of this government doesn't owe me crap. They owed my great grandfather. Okay, they owed him. Now, me being his descendant,
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily transmits to me.
Let me say this, right on that point right there. If your grandfather had got what he was owed, would your life, do you think your life would potentially be better?
It's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility depending on what he would have gotten.
Okay.
I mean, my life wasn't bad. I didn't come up, I didn't come
Yeah,
up
no,
raised,
I see.
I wasn't raised in the ghetto singing songs for survival.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, I tell people that, like, I wasn't raised in the hood.
Okay.
I wasn't raised eating roaches, living in
Right.
the projects.
Right.
That's not my story. That's
Okay.
not my life. Now, I knew a lot of people from the hood. I dealt with a lot of people from the hood. Dealt with women from the hood, but that was after I left my parents' house. My exposure with the hood came after I left out of my parents' house. I mean, because they didn't raise us in no hood.
Okay.
I didn't even know what an apartment was until I moved out of my parents' house. I had no idea what an apartment was because I had never lived in one.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know what an apartment was till I had my own. So that's just not my story. So I didn't come from a lineage of struggle. I probably struggled more on my own than I ever did when I was living with my parents. I mean, when I was on my own, there was times where I had to pay my bills and pay my car insurance and buy ramen noodles for the week. After I done paid my rent and all that, I'm eating ramen noodles for the next 5 days. So I probably had way more struggles on my own than I ever did at my parents' house. So I mean, I don't necessarily feel like I should collect. I mean, even if I was to receive said reparations, whatever that would be, if I could give it to someone that I'm related to or know that's worse off than me, that's probably what I would do. All right. That's more than likely what I would do. I told Brother Info Man, I said, look, man, I mean, if they're going to give out reparations, whatever that is, whether it be money, land, house, education, medical, whatever, I mean, I would want someone to have it who needs it more than I do.
Okay.
I wouldn't want someone else to go without just because I got it. Because let us be clear, everybody's not going to get it, right? We already know that. Everybody's not going to get it. There's going to be a lot of hoops and all this kind of different classifications for people to get it. And a lot of people are going to be left out who deserve it. Like those people who have a straight line to slavery, have a straight line to the bigotry and discrimination and all that stuff that our ancestors went through. They're going to have a direct line to it. But guess what? They're not going to be able to get it. Why? Because they're not going to be able to prove who they are.
Right.
Because they're not just going to walk around and give a bunch of black people checks. They're going to make you're going to have to prove this, prove that, prove this, prove that. And a lot of people who deserve it aren't going to be able to prove it. So they're going to get left out. And I would rather, because I've traced my ancestry already. So I would rather one of those people who really deserve it and missed it because they couldn't prove it to have it, as opposed to giving it to me. especially
Yeah,
if they're a
no,
lot worse off than me. I'd rather them have it than you give it to me.
I get it. I get it. I know we talk a lot about the part that is, that would be reparations. Studying HR 40 and then figuring out how to pay people and who gets paid and all that. However, there are other things that have already been won through the fighting of our ancestry, right? Such as, things that have to do with affirmative action, education grants, housing grants, so forth and so on. And according to the numbers that I've been hearing on YouTube from other YouTubers whom I think are trusted sources for information, um, BGS being one of them. I mean, we'll start there. Um, he put some numbers out that we were only taking about a 10% advantage of those gains won by our ancestors, affirmative action, educational grants, business loans, and so forth and so on. That the American descendant of slavery is only tapping into 10% of that, and the other 90% are white women and immigrants. Um, So I'm focused on what has already been won. These things have already been granted and won. I'm more into why aren't we more into that 90% than just only 10? So that part of ADOS is a serious focus for me right now too, because um yeah, why aren't we more than 10% taking advantage of that? So, is that something that you have given any thought to at this point of the discussion, or is it kind of mostly because the conversation mostly has been around people getting checks, which is, I know that's going to be a long conversation. I really try not to get into that part of the conversation until the study is done and until they decide who actually will qualify for that type of reparation. But what about the grants that we're only, you know, getting 10% of the pie?
Well, in this country, I'm a true believer that nothing is ever done specifically for black folks per se. Um, they may bill it as being for black folks, but usually, like you said, other people take more advantage of it. And that's my fear with the quote unquote reparations, because once they establish it,
Mhm.
what they're going to be doing is they're going to be filtering through people who can prove they are connected to it. And
Mhm.
guess what? Believe it or not, y'all, many of those people aren't going to look like you, because there's probably Latino people who can trace their ancestry back to slavery. There may
Mhm.
be some white folks who can trace their ancestry back to slavery. You never know. America's a melting pot. Okay. You have no
Mm.
idea who your great 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 grandfather and grandmother was until you
Mhm.
look. Okay.
Yeah.
You have no idea. A lot of us, you trace your history back, you probably came from white folks. Your
Yeah.
great 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 granddaddy might have been a white man. All
Mhm.
right. So it's not impossible for white folks to look back and find out that their great 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 granddaddy was a black man. That's not
Okay.
impossible. So I
Mm.
mean, these are the things we have to look at. But as far as what's going on today and the lack of us getting our hands on those things that are quote unquote for us, I think a lot of it has to do with misinformation, uh unlearned
Mhm.
ways to achieve these things. uh I think, and a lot of it is just laziness on our part, many of us, because let's be clear, a lot of us are lazy. I mean, I know
Mhm.
people don't like to hear that shit, but a lot of us are
Mhm.
just lazy as shit. We don't want to get out there and do. A lot of us don't. Is it all of us? Of course not. But too many of us to be doing it. Too many of us. Because one is too many. One lazy person is too many. And we know it's more than that. So I think a lot of that comes from not being focused, not being capable of planning, not thinking about beyond today. I think often we have a tendency to just think about the right here and the right now. And I think that kind of controls a lot of our decision making. You know, I mean, you know, especially when you talk about, you know, education grants and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff is for people. I know I went to school on a grant. All right. I went to school on a grant. So, I mean, it's out there for people if they do the research, if they get the boots on the ground, if they do what they need to do to fulfill the plan of their life. But first, they have to have that plan. That plan has to be there first. Okay. It has to be there. Now you have to isolate that plan. And sometimes you have to plan for the plan. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I believe that we don't take advantage of many of these things out of fear that we might just be successful at it. Because I think many of us fear success.
That's true.
I don't think many of us are just afraid of failure. I think many of us are kind of afraid of success. Many of us are afraid to get those boots on the ground. Many of us are afraid to plan. Many of us are afraid to think about what we're going to be doing in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I mean, I'm one of those people. I mean, I didn't start figuring shit out till I was like 30, 35. Right. Even though I was working and everything else. I mean, I didn't start to really kind of figure shit out till I was like 30. That's when I start figuring it out. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want for my children. This way I want to be. This way I want to live. This way I want to die. You know, I mean, it's only been the past, say, 4 to 5 years that I actually had life insurance. All right. First time I ever purchased life insurance was like 5 years ago.
Right.
All right. Life insurance for myself, for my wife, just in case one of us fall dead. We don't have to start a GoFundMe to put each other in the damn ground. You know, and a lot of times we don't think how many black people, you know, it's probably black people. Many black people right now probably don't even have $2,000 in the bank.
It's not funny,
you know,
but it's so true. It's so true.
Don't even have $2,000 in the bank. Many black folks don't have life insurance. You know, and the way we can die and fall dead, we don't have life insurance for us. We don't have life insurance for our children. We don't have nothing put away for a rainy day. I mean, most of us live in the country, but we don't grow our own food. You know, those kind of things. You know, those kind of things. I think we as a people need to think about more. I mean, we need to get more power over our own lives. You know, that's what kills me with us. And I say us because my black ass is included in it too. We don't take control of the things in our lives that we got total control over. But we're always talking about things that many of us have no control over. I mean, the first part of control is controlling the things you absolutely control. I mean, that is why I grow my own food. I mean, I have a half an acre of vegetables. I mean, when my wife goes shopping, she don't even buy vegetables. She doesn't have to. They grow in our backyard. I mean, I grow so much of that shit that I give the cucumbers and lettuce and cabbage and shit. I give it to some old folks. It's an older black couple that live 3 houses down from me. I give them baskets of shit, baskets of cucumbers and melons. And, you know, I mean, little things like that make a difference. Teaching our children about those things, teaching our children about finance, teaching our children about saving money, teaching our children to think ahead. I mean, little things like that can make a difference in Black folks' lives, just like that. And those are things that you have total control over. You have total control over that. You have total control over teaching your children about money, teaching your children about finance, teaching your children about real estate, teaching your children about education, teaching your children about growing their own food, teaching your children to be prepped for a rainy day. I mean, you have total control over that. Total control. And we let that stuff go just to get out and march because a brother got shot uptown. Something you have no control over. That man dead and gone. Yeah, he's dead and gone. Marching ain't gonna bring him back, and marching is not gonna bring to justice the person who killed him. It's not. You have no control over that. You're just a participant in the aftermath. I think as Black people, we need to start taking more control over the things we have total control over. Then we can get together as a collective and maybe control more. It all starts at your house, your life, your kids. That's where it all starts. It starts there. It doesn't start with the marching. It doesn't start with reparations. It doesn't start with brothers on platforms telling you how white supremacy and the white power structure has control over you. No, it does not start there. It starts with you, your life, your family, your world. It starts there. That's where you learn control at. You don't learn control by being on YouTube. You don't learn control by being on Facebook. You don't learn control by sitting back watching so-called conscious brothers and pro-Black brothers give you long soliloquies. No, it starts at your house, man. That's where your control start at. Starts there.
Well,
and I think we don't understand that.
No, you said some really powerful things. I will say though that I have some of my knowledge did start. Some of my new understanding started actually watching y'all talk. You invited me into your chat, got some other thought processes going on for me. So actually the media has been very, watching you and your guests have actually put a lot into my head.
Yeah, I mean,
things that I wasn't thinking about before.
Well, don't get me wrong. I feel like media is a good place to exchange ideas. Okay, because that's basically what it is. I say this all the time too. Many of us up here is just people with a camera, a microphone, and ideology. Okay, that's basically what we all are. We got a camera, microphone, and an ideology. Some of us, that's it. And many of us, some of our shit is fancy, some of our shit is raggedy, some of our shit is well put together, some of our shit is just thrown together. But at the end of the day, that's what we are, man. And we get up here and we are exchanging ideas, but the real work takes place on the ground. That's where the real work is going to take place at. I mean, the exchanging of ideas is great. Now, the implementing of those ideas is going to take place at your house, on your street, at that school, at that wherever those Black folks are. I don't think a revolution is ever going to be started via social media. Social media is just a place for you to have those exchanges of revolutionary ideas. That can take place. But the work going to take place once you close the laptop. The laptop going to be closed, the mic going to be off, the camera going to be off. And that's when the real work is going to begin. And even then, that work needs to begin in your house. I mean, it's just like if, say for instance, right, I need a security guard to guard my building, right? Where would I get that security guard? Would I go to a brother who's a security guard and his house has been broken 2, 3, 4 times? Why would I hire that security guard? They done broke into his house 3 times. I don't want him watching my building. And I think that's the same way with media. We cannot expect people who just get on here and talk the revolution to get out there and perform the revolution. Even if we believe that they have gotten started with it, they just like the security guard. They're like the security guard who cannot guard your building. Why? Because see, they are on YouTube. They are not doing what they're telling you to do. They are not getting out there on the street. They are not getting out there trying to change things. They're not doing it. They're sitting on YouTube telling you, you should be doing it. You should be out there. You should be doing this. But when you go out there, those people that are on YouTube, notice you don't see them. You won't see those people who are telling you to march. You won't see them out there. Now, they're constantly telling you to march, but when you go to march, you won't see them. Because like I said, they are just like that security guard. They are not capable of managing their own house, their own business, their own life, their own family. So why would you trust them to get out there and manage a revolution, manage your family, manage what you should do in your life? They're not even managing their own shit because they're not even doing what they're telling you to do. They are not doing it. They're not. You know, most of the people that's on YouTube right now, I guarantee you, a lot of them, their lives are in freaking shambles. I guarantee it. Most of these brothers who get on YouTube and tell you all this nonsense, guess what? They living in their grandma's attic, trying to tell you about life, trying to tell you how to live while they living in grandma's attic, using grandma's internet, driving grandma's car, eating grandma's food, but they telling you how to live life. That doesn't make any sense. Why should I listen to you?
What makes you think that?
What makes me think that is because, for one, like I said earlier, most of the people who watch YouTube and are on YouTube, most of them are not content creators. They're content spectators. All right. That's just a fact. If you go to your chat room right now, I guarantee you 70% of the people watching, they don't have no content on their page.
I think I got a sense of that. I think you're right.
They don't have no content. They don't have no videos. They have a YouTube page strictly for watching.
I'm sorry, X. Were you talking about the people watching or the content creators?
No, I'm talking about the people watching. I said most of the people in your chat room right now probably don't even have any content.
No, but I'm saying the ones that are telling us to do things that they might not be doing. Or you're talking about content creators.
Yes. Okay. A lot of the content creators. See, one thing that media has done, right? Media has allowed people to be whoever they want to be. I mean, I can come up here right now and tell you I'm a damn astronaut. I can say I'm an astronaut. I can say I just got back from Mars. All right. And I'm sitting here in my damn spacesuit. The burden is on you to prove me wrong.
Right.
You know, you have to dox me or find somebody who knows me to say, oh, he's no astronaut. YouTube has given people, not only is it, see, this is the thing. Social media is a good avenue for, like I said, exchanging ideas, networking with people, and also, you know, getting to know a little bit about people. But what it also is, it gives Black people, especially Black folks, it gives us an added layer to hide behind. Because like I said, I can get on here right now and tell you I'm a damn a stock car driver. I can tell you I'm a multi-millionaire. It's the burden's on you to prove me wrong. And
no, I understand.
It's impossible for you to do that unless you know me.
Yeah. I was just trying to trying to see what gave you a sense of fit, like in terms of percentage. Would you say it's a 50-50 shot, or are you like, because it's no empirical data that we hold to
Mm-mm.
know whether, whether or not Gab is who, who he's representing himself to be, or X, or anybody, you know what I'm saying? Unless, I come with witnesses or something, or
Yeah.
some paperwork or something like
Yeah.
that.
So
I was
some testimony. Come with
yeah,
some testimony.
it's kind of difficult to, yeah, it's kind of difficult to say. So I was wondering, what percentage do you think is actually, is it 50-50?
I would like to think that it's not that many, but I think it's a significant part.
No, oh
Be-
yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's I think it's a significant number of people who get up
fake it.
here and tell you one thing and they do the exact opposite. I mean,
Okay.
we've seen it. All
Yeah,
right.
I think,
We've seen it all over YouTube,
yeah.
male and female, where they tell you this and they're about that, and we're
No,
doing this and we're doing that. And then they real life, somebody mess around and docks their ass
yeah,
on a mad day, and you
yeah,
find out they're doing the total opposite shit of
yeah.
what they were telling you.
Okay.
They're doing the total opposite, or they're doing the exact same thing that they said they would never do. In
Mhm.
real life, they're doing it. I think a
Okay.
lot of people on here, like I said, media has given people a personality to hide behind. They
Mhm.
can tell you anything. They don't have to be really doing it. They don't have to be doing it.
Mhm.
They can just say I'm doing it. That's it.
Facts.
There's nothing to challenge it. And when you give people license to say whatever they want, they
Mhm.
usually do it. They
Yeah.
usually do it. If you let
Mhm.
them say or be whatever they want, they're probably going to do it. And I think there's a significant number of us
Mhm.
who come on here simply to put on a show. Because what does media do, man? Media gives you your own network. You
Yeah.
got your own network in your pocket.
Mhm.
All you gotta do is pull out your phone and go live, and you on TV.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it.
Yeah.
So just like there's plenty of real people out there, there's plenty of fraudulent BS people out there.
Mhm. No, you're right, and that was a good that was clarity for me, in terms of what you're thinking, and I think, I got a similar way of thinking. I don't think everybody, all of us, are who we say we are, and uh, so far, I'm getting the best out of, you know, as an individual, I go and pluck out things that I could try. You know what I mean? Things that I heard from Brother X guest, or even from Brother X, that I might be able to try. And I just go around and pluck the best out of what I can think, even if it's just an ideology. Um, Sometimes the wealth is in the mind and in the spirit of the people, and not necessarily what it is that they actually attain for their own lives. But so and I'll continue on the hunt and the search, and but I definitely think it's a lot of faking that go on social media, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a lot of BS, man.
yeah,
And
yeah,
one thing about us as black folks, man, a lot of us have, not all of us, but
mhm,
a lot of us, we have like a herd mentality,
mhm,
and media, especially YouTube, is kind of cultish,
mhm,
and people are looking for somebody to follow, somebody to, relate to,
mhm,
someone to be entertained by and or
yeah,
enlightened by. So, when you have that, you're going to have some BSers. You're going to have people who scam. You're going to have people who lie. You're going to have people who, put up this persona, put
mhm,
on this show,
mhm,
for these people who gathers around them. I mean, that's just par for the course, man.
mhm,
And I did a video a long time ago, man, called All of Y'all. And, you know, I spoke about not just the people who watch, but I spoke about us who create as well. Because even with us, I mean, have we become infatuated with, you know, getting on here and have people listen to us and,
Yeah.
you know, have people take our perspectives seriously? You know, I mean, have we, you know, are we, fascinated with the
Yeah,
fact that we
yeah.
can turn on our camera and have people watch? You know, I mean, so, you know, it comes from both sides. It comes from the
Real
sides of
tough.
the people who, you know,
Yeah.
do the presentations, and it comes from the side of the people who watch. I mean,
yeah.
I think many times they're, you know, they're one and the same. Some people come, you know, they want to be enlightened, they want to be entertained, they want to be made to feel good, they want to hear some truth. And on the other side of that, you got people who produce content who maybe they don't want to enlighten people, maybe they want to entertain people, maybe they
Yeah.
don't want to entertain people, maybe they want to bullshit people, maybe they don't want to bullshit people, maybe they just want to beat people out of money.
Mhm.
I don't know. You
No,
don't
you're
know.
right.
I'm All these things have to be, you know, these are things that are self-determined. You know, no one can determine that for you. You have to determine those things on your own. And I think the best thing about media is it gives many, many, many choices to many, many, many people. And anybody can find anything that they want on media. They can find a brother like you who's real genuine and measured. They can
Mhm.
find a brother like me who talk a lot of shit. They can find, you know, other brothers who don't do nothing but BS. They can find scammers. They can find girls. They can find white folks. They can. That's one thing about media. Whatever you're looking for,
You can
you
find.
can find,
Mhm.
no matter what that is. You can find enlightenment or entertainment and everything in between.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, brother X, that concludes my questions, and I appreciate the advice that you had to give to me. And I'll continue to see what's next for you in terms of interview. Who you got next?
Well,
Matter of fact,
tomorrow,
Wednesday, tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah, tomorrow, those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series,
Mhm.
we are going to be doing a special Hours of Power, because all of you know on Wednesday nights I do my Hours of Power.
Mhm.
Tomorrow we're having a professional ladies show tomorrow. I will be interviewing Paulina Johnson, Nicole Ali,
Mhm.
and Dr. Ford tomorrow. So
Oh,
tune
awesome.
in tomorrow. You know, I'm gonna have 3 professional ladies on there. I'm gonna pick their brain for about an hour. It's a first for the Hours of Power, but those of you who follow me, y'all know I give y'all different looks from time to time. You know, three powerful ladies, you know,
Mhm.
brothers come, you know, ladies come too, you know, and check out what these ladies got to say.
Mhm.
Um, 3 very interesting people all in one night, and they all females. So,
Oh yeah,
you know,
powerful folks, man.
yeah.
I'm familiar with all of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all 3 of them will be on tomorrow, you know, because you know, X can get, see, my platform is pretty male centered for the most part now.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, it's pretty male centered. It always has been for the most part, but it's pretty male centered. But I figure this week, you know, instead of having 3 brothers on, I'll
Mhm.
have, you know, 3 professional ladies on, and
Mhm.
you know, kind of show brothers that, you know, there are some smart women out there, you know,
Indeed.
women who are accomplished, and you know, they're not on that craziness, you know, because like I said, I like to give people different looks.
Mhm.
And you know, I've been getting some emails, and you know, people been writing me, you know, telling me, oh man, you know, you sound like, you know, you starting to hate women too, like the rest of the guys, which is BS, because if you look through my stuff, you'll see that's not the case. I've always had women as part of my platform and the whole nine.
Right.
But you come through the mall, you'll see that, you know, I'm not this lady hater. You know, I have my stances on things. I have my problems,
Yeah.
you know, with these with sisters. But I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not a lady hater. Like I said, tomorrow I'll have Lady Paulina Robinson will be on tomorrow, Nicole Ali and Dr. Ford. So come through, check them out. Three powerful women. You know, you should get a kick out of it. You know, I have a tendency to bring the best out of the women.
Okay.
So you know, we'll see what goes on. I think they just like the voice. So, you know, I
No,
can,
I'll be out there in
you
the
know,
audience. I'll be in the audience. Oh yeah, yeah. I heard somebody say something about the voice. the other day. I think it was yesterday you came in. It was like that. Somebody said they go to voice.
Yeah, you know, so you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. You know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We
Well, I
we will
appreciate
see.
your time. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, bro. Did you eat dinner yet, man?
Actually, no. I mean, I came
Me-
straight from the shop because I looked, man, it was like 7:15. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm supposed to be getting up with Gab,
Yeah.
you know, and it's crazy because I had told my wife, I was like, yeah, I said I'm getting interviewed by GabTalk tonight.
Mhm.
And she called me. She was like, don't you supposed to be getting interviewed or something? I was like, damn, goddamn right. So, you know,
Yeah.
I had to hurry up and book to the house,
Yeah.
you know. I was working late, man. I usually don't work, you know, I'm sun up to sundown. Once it get dark,
Right.
you know, I stop. But, you know, I had a little extra shit I had to do. So I knocked that out. So my bad for being late, brother.
Nah,
I
man,
don't usually do that.
I
You know.
had to get a room time to get some folks up in there and listen to us chop it up. So nah, it was great. I appreciate your time, man. And I like I say, I gotta eat my dinner too. I ain't starving or nothing, but you know, and then to drop
Well,
something in there real quick.
I am, goddamn it, I am. But yeah,
Hey,
man, this is good, man. This is
indeed,
good, man.
indeed. Shout out to you, man. Y'all know where to be tomorrow with his three very important guests, folks that I've admired on YouTube. Nicole Ali, Paulina Johnson, and Dr. Ford. I just recently started seeing Dr. Ford around more late as of late. So I'll be interested in seeing also what it is she's going to contribute to over there on your show. So I'll be looking in there, man.
Oh yeah,
Other
ladies
than that,
with some brains in their heads, man.
oh
You know,
yeah, man, yeah,
you
you
know.
serious brains in the
Ladies with
head.
some serious brains, boy. I'm telling you, some smart ladies, boy. Y'all better come through. Check out these ladies tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
You know, hear
yeah,
what they got to say.
indeed.
Some big brain beauties tomorrow, boy.
Yes,
Come check
indeed.
it out.
Yes, indeed. So
I'm just saying.
I appreciate it again, bro. With that said, it's Gab Talk Media talking to the Prophet of Thought series. Y'all go check them out tomorrow, and we are signing out.
Peace,
Thanks, brother.
folks.
X. Peace.
Anytime.
Indeed. Thanks, cousin Skeeter, brother Aaron, Paulina Johnson, Nicole Ali. Be looking out for Dr. Ford over on Prophet of Thought series tomorrow night. There he is. Peace, brother X. And Evolve May, you excellent moderator. You and Poetic Kales and Child Willie. I want to give y'all a special thanks, special shout out. 6 Figure Days, thanks for coming through and adding on. Deborah Leonelli, thank you for your contribution. I was watching your discussion. Always welcome here on this channel. We can agree and disagree, and it doesn't matter. You just come on back, and I'm sure we'll find some other things to agree about. With that said, Gab is about to sign out. Let y'all hear these sounds before I go. Kind of James Brownish right here. Again, thank y'all for coming through. Had a lot of fun. Gab Talk Media. Make sure you come again. Want to thank the underrated darkness, Little Rock. Bro Rob, Tony Smith, Tokyo Woodward, Moses Jenkins, Raiders, Jay Shine, all right. All right, fam. I'm out.